Hi, everybody. Today I am thrilled because I have Kelsey here with us. And so here I go and try to pronounce your last name. I guess, is it Freak?
Frick.
Frick.
It's
Ah,
a it's a shorter it's a shorter I. It's not
like,
free.
no, this is not how
Shorter
you
I.
spell it. But with names, you never know. I mean, and I
Yeah.
know that you call yourself the freaking translator. So I love that. So I've been following you for quite a while on LinkedIn, and I've seen a bit of your adventures, your videos. But I'll start by asking, have you always known that you wanted to be a translator, or is that something that only came around college time? Because you did study translation, right?
Yes, I did translation. A fluke. I actually so I'm from the States, and I
Mhm.
actually went to college in the States for fine art. I started studying fine arts, and I'm actually an art school dropout because my plan was that I wanted to study fine arts but have a second major of French.
Mhm.
Um, and when I got obviously the fine arts process is a whole like portfolio application and everything like that. It's really in depth. So I like figured, I'll just add French after that. When I started at college, then I said, okay, can I add a second major of French? And they said, no, sorry, we're phasing out the French program. And I said, okay, how do I drop out? So I was at art school for 1 week, and
Oh.
I had just visited the UK the summer before I started college in America. I've got family friends who are British, and we went to go and visit them. And I just completely fell in love with the place. Completely fell in love with the place, and they're from Norfolk, so I was like, I just want to go over there in any way that I can. So I looked at the University of East Anglia's language program, and they were offering a translation program, and I thought, well, that sounds like you know
With
that
French
sounds pretty
somehow in it,
with
right?
French. Yeah, yeah. So I've been studying French, but obviously, I kind of figured at that point after I dropped out of college that, I'd be able to, I could practice art whenever I wanted, but I was never
Mhm.
really going to teach myself French fluently. So
That makes
then,
sense.
I looked into the University of East Anglia's program. They were offering translation, media, and French, and I said, okay, well, that sounds a really practical application of, how to use my French language skills. And applied, got in, and yeah, 10 years later, I'm still in the UK. But yeah, it it wasn't something that I knew I always wanted to do. I think art was probably my first real love. And when I was a little kid, I said that I wanted to like grow up and be an artist. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I've kind of fallen into translation accidentally in terms of studying it and stuff. But yeah, it's kind of become the second love of my life.
That's interesting because I thought, oh, she did study translation, which means that this was already a plan. But I guess there was a plan before this plan.
Yeah.
So I guess it's because of this artistic thing, aura about you, that you actually do a lot of things within, let's say, the language business, right? Because I actually listed a few of the things that you do, a few of the services that you offer, and it's like multiple things of all perspectives, which is a little bit like myself. So like there's language work, but there's also behind the scenes work and project management and all of that stuff, right? So how did that come to your life? I mean, where did it start and how did it develop in such a variety of activities?
It's again a little bit accidental. So in my final year of uni here in the UK, a local translation agency got in touch with my head of school and said that they were looking for someone to come and do work experience, specifically with subtitling. And that was one of the modules that I really enjoyed and did quite well at while I was in uni. And so I applied and I got accepted and stuff. And it just happened, I was going in maybe like once or twice a week, but it just happened when two full-time members of staff of the agency had just left.
Mm.
And the managing director of the agency, good job. And I went, me? Um, so from I started going in, I management quickly moved to being a account manager.
Mm.
Um, I worked for 5 years. It
Oh,
was a boutique agency, so it was small. It was mostly just,
I
doing the
guess it's a
things.
it's a little bit cut. Can you hear me well? Because I can you
Oh, sorry, I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
just I can understand what you're saying, but it's a bit cut. You think?
Oh, let me try. So strange. Fine before that.
Yeah, it's just coming with some technical difficulties, I would say.
Still difficulties. Yeah.
I guess it's better now. Yep.
Is it better now?
Yep. I think so. Sorry.
That's okay. Do you want to start that
No,
question
yeah,
over
we just
again?
continue.
Yeah.
No, no, no. We'll
Okay.
we'll do it like
Just
this. Yeah.
continue. We'll roll with it. That's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Um. Yeah. So yes, I was working there for 5 years. But it was a boutique agency. So I was not only doing the like account and project management, I was also doing the vendor management and the marketing and like the finance and stuff like that. So there was a little bit of everything. It was a really hands-on introduction to how
Mhm.
the translation industry works. And then after 5 years, I was actually in 2021, I got COVID really, really badly.
Mm.
And I think that kind of that time put a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people, and it did for me definitely. And I thought,
Mm.
I need to start, advancing a little bit more in my career. So I went freelance, thinking that I was going to go and find a new dream job and, just use freelancing to pay some bills on the side. But
Ah.
actually, it turned out that I really liked being my own boss, and yeah, it just kind of grew organically. My services grew organically. When I went freelance, I kind of thought I really need to get on social. I knew LinkedIn was a really good opportunity, especially, in a B2B environment. So I just started doing that and experimenting with things on that. I had originally planned on focusing on subtitling mainly as my service that I was going to offer being freelance, but since most people knew me in a project management and account management capacity, that just seemed to be the things I started to get recommended for and start working with. So I would say that's like the majority of my business now. And then obviously with the growth of the social media and stuff like that, I now offer consultancy. So there's lots of things that have grown quite organically, which I'm very happy about. And I'm trying to
Mhm.
like rein it all in now and make sense of it and take a little bit of control of it.
Yeah, I guess it was 2001 probably when I started seeing your videos. And I guess I read somewhere that you said that they are TikTok videos disguised as LinkedIn content, which
Basically.
I loved. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, to look at it from that perspective. So that's how I would say most people in the industry noticed you, at least from my perspective. That's what I remember from. I'm like, yes, she did those videos in the beginning. That's probably what called my attention and everybody else's attention. And you're just amazing at it. But how did that come to your mind? Is it because you joined TikTok or what happened? How did that come about?
It was I knew that I had to have a social media presence. I was experimenting a lot on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I wanted to do video content. I knew I wanted video content, but really like sort of, sitting in front of your phone and going, "Hi, I'm Kelsey Frick. I am a project manager who is freelance." I didn't, that felt really, really unnatural to me.
Mhm.
And I knew already from my, like, from creating content that if I didn't like doing something, that I wasn't going to continue doing it. And at the time, I hadn't downloaded TikTok. I was just on Instagram, and I was completely obsessed with Instagram Reels, which is basically TikTok, but the Instagram version. And I would sit there and just scroll through them, and I loved it. And I was like, I'm gonna try one of those, and we'll see how it goes. Like, I'll experiment. I was scared out of my mind to post it because I was like, this could either go really good or really, really bad. But luckily, when I did post it, I got a really good reaction, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm onto something here, and just had fun with it. I just to continue working on it because it was something that I actually enjoyed doing rather than felt like work. It
Mhm.
didn't feel like, oh, I have to put a post out for the sake of putting a post out. I have to do this because, I haven't done a video in a while or something like that. It was just something that, again, could grow really naturally and something that I like to come back to.
Yeah, that's why there's sometimes are a bit more work related, sometimes they're more fun, sometimes whatever comes to your mind, and it's just everybody
Yeah.
loves them. I guess it's I guess you're still famous for them, I would say. So in the meantime, you have been posting about all sorts of things and events and everything else. So you focus a lot on the freelance translators, like in the community, right? And you have a lot of advice, a lot of posts that are there to call people's attention to the issues and questions that bother people the most when they work on that side of the business. And so people have been inviting you to talk about all sorts of things. And I know that one of the last things that you did was to talk about mental health, right? So I would say that you really have a lot to say about that because you are a full blown freelancer at the moment and you have to deal with it yourself. And I'd like to know what kind of things you have been telling people that might help them.
Yeah, I mean, mental health is really important to me. It's something that I've always kind of felt really comfortable talking about. Um, just personally, throughout my life, I always thought that it was better to get it out, better to talk about it and start those conversations than to bottle things up. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do my fair share of bottling up. I think we all do. But for me, it was always something that I thought was important to be speaking about. And when I went freelance, there was so many things that I came up against that I didn't really know how to navigate and had to kind of learn the hard way. And so going freelance, I knew that I kind of wanted to create an environment where I could be supportive of anyone else that was going through those, or
Mhm.
at the very least, show that they aren't alone in what they're going through. So that was kind of the whole idea of me starting to speak on mental health a little bit more. But there's so many things to talk about. There's burnout. There's you know getting a mean email from a client or from someone that you're working with that for some reason just sends you into tears. Um, or there's working on your period and
Mhm.
navigating your hormones and stuff like that. Like
There's
that's so
discussing
kind.
rates with clients all the time,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
pretty stressful.
There's so many things that you can go through and stuff. Or, the fact of you're working from your home all the time and how that can affect your mental health. There's so many different aspects of it. So it's something that I like to cover. I'm by no means like a mental health expert. I haven't studied it or anything like that, but all I can do is share my experience and share the things that have helped me through it.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you do a lot of things, and I'm sure that also helps your mental health because it's not like you're doing subtitling all the time or doing this or doing that. So I guess that's one of the methods, right? Is to
Yeah,
have
definitely.
variety in your life. And I speak for myself. That is one of the things that really helps us also compartmentalize. Is this a word? Uh,
Yeah,
a little bit of the problem here and a little bit of the problem there because you don't have to focus on the same thing all the time. So one of
absolutely.
the companies you work for is, let's see if I can find it. I have it here. It's words in translation, right? So I guess that you work for multiple companies, but this is probably the one you're more public about, right? So what kind of activities do you actually do there?
So Words and Translation, first of all, a great, great company. I'm a, a wonderful position in my career that I'm able to be very choosy about the people that I work with, and Words and Translation, hands down, are just a wonderful company to work for. Um, what I mainly do for them, it's twofold. So I work as a account director, account manager for them, and I manage one of their major accounts. Um, and the other side of what I do is also marketing. So I'm also helping them with their marketing plan, their content creation, um, advising on, writing LinkedIn profiles and the kind of wholesale marketing landscape for a boutique translation agency, because it's what I learned and what I had to do myself when I first started out in my career.
Mm. So now that I was looking at your services, and I realized that you actually also offer graphic design, and now I understand how that is a
That
part of
fits
your
in.
services.
Yes.
So what happens there? Do you still do it a lot, or?
I do it a fair amount. So it's kind of graphic design is a good way to say it for clients who are outside of the translation industry, but I feel like in the translation industry, a lot of people know it as DTP or desktop publishing. And I would say that makes up like a good amount of the service that I do, actually. And it's an auxiliary service. It's obviously one that I charge for, but it really the DTP is a service that I've seen close a deal quite like no other. Like it's it's really appealing to direct clients, to end clients, to be able to get something translated in like their InDesign or something.
Yeah.
And then have it redesigned, reformatted, and double checked so that it looks like it was, published originally in that language. And there's something to be said for that. It's something that comes up quite a lot. It's again something that I learned on the job. I was already making like digital art and stuff before obviously I got into the translation industry, so I already knew how to use like Photoshop and Illustrator. So InDesign wasn't a huge leap, but yeah, it's just it's a good service to be able to offer. And it also helps with content creation and all of that good stuff too.
Yeah, because you do so much, but I'm sure you still, or I hope you still can find the time to do some of your artwork as such, like for pleasure. Is that still happening?
That is happening. It's not happening as much as I would like, obviously. I think, because I've only been freelance for it's gonna be 2 years on Sunday.
Oh wow, coming up.
So yeah, exactly. So but everything has been such a whirlwind, and then that I've kind of just been really wrapped up in my work. But definitely I have a whole this box down here is full of art supplies and stuff like that. I've actually this is I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've actually bought a tattoo gun that I'm going to start working with and stuff. And
Okay.
not like professionally or anything like that, but it's something that I've always wanted to learn.
So what's the idea? Are you gonna buy like those fake skins and start practicing, or
Yeah,
I just find out that existed. I was shocked.
yeah, I've got some fake skins and stuff like that, and just start practicing, because it's something that I've always wanted to learn. It's actually what I thought that I might go into before I was going to be a translator or anything. But yeah.
And that's also amazing as a translation niche, I suppose, that you're an expert on that kind of area, I suppose.
Yeah,
I mean, I love watching tattoo shows. I don't have any tattoos, but I'll watch all of your ink masters and all of that stuff to keep up with the trends and to know what's happening. So the extent of your worries with the community goes so far that you have actually created a community recently, right?
Yeah. Yes, I have. Yeah. So me and my colleague Aniko, we have launched Team Translator, which has been a real labor of love for us. We had before we launched, we must have been planning it for maybe 5 or 6 months before we actually launched. It stemmed out of wanting to create a space that was first and foremost positive for freelance translators, because I feel like, Facebook group.
Lost you again. Sorry. No, I cannot even hear you at all right now.
Hey,
I guess every now and then something happens and it just runs away.
that's so strange.
Okay, I guess you're back.
Am I back?
I think so. Yeah, I can hear you now.
That's so weird. I don't know why.
You don't do anything, right? It's just
literally nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Anyway.
sorry.
Um, but yeah, so Team Translator was, we wanted to create a space that was first and foremost positive. Um, we wanted to kind of get out of that feel of like a Facebook group where you go to like really complain about clients and complain about agencies and like low rates and stuff like that. And yes, there is a certain amount of that happens in Team Translator. We have a whole channel called Let It Out,
Mhm.
for you to be able to do that. But we also we just want to create that community where everyone's kind of supporting each other. We're not, it's not about um being in competition with anybody. It's not about trying to beat anyone on rates or anything like that. It's just about answering questions that people have, or
Mhm.
being supportive when people are having a bad day, or being supportive when people are having a great day, and we can celebrate with them and stuff. So that was really the purpose for it. And then we've also, been developing resources that people can access. So there's a lot going on there, and we have so much planned. But yeah, we are just absolutely delighted with the response that we've had to it so far. We've been really, really lucky. We've got almost 550 members of it, and
Mhm.
we only launched in November.
Yeah.
So that's been absolutely enormous. And we're so happy.
Yes, I bet. And when you go and try to sign in, there are three questions, right?
Yep.
So why are you joining? And then the second question stops you right there. If you're not a freelance translator, do not continue, basically. So why is it this? I guess it's because of the safe space for talking about anything you want, but it's just not possible for someone who doesn't, let me use this terminology, identify as the freelance translator. So that's the idea, right? To just make sure that people who are not
Yeah.
don't identify, who are not freelance translators, so that they cannot be part of the team. You don't want that.
Yeah. I mean, we're open to any freelance professional in the localization industry,
Mm.
basically. Freelance translator is kind of a catch-all term for it. But yeah, we wanted to just be really intentional about the space that we were creating. One, yeah, we want to protect that safe space for freelance translators and other freelance localization professionals. We don't want people who are working in agencies coming in and seeing everything that people are saying, or all of that stuff. It's meant to be a space for them. Um, and then also we wanted to make sure that what we were offering and what we were doing and targeting with our content and with our resources and our events and stuff were really geared towards those types of people as well. We've had a lot of requests to say, oh, can students join and stuff? And we're like, well, if you're actively freelancing, that's fine. But we're not a group for students. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we are. So that's why we are, you know, are kind of strict about that. We want to make sure that it's just for freelance localization professionals, because that's how we can make the group more effective and make it work for everyone who's joined.
Mm. So I guess you really have this management, like in a good sense, not micromanagement, but this managing sense, right? Like organizing things and getting resources
Oh
together
yeah.
and all of that. So with all of this going on, what is the typical day for the freaking translator? I just love saying it. Sorry. It's your creation. I mean, I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, honestly. I mean, when I got married, I was like, I am not changing my name. I love my surname. It's
As
gotten
you
me through the
should, as you
bullying
should.
and all of that. I never heard the end of it. So yeah, love being a Frick. But my typical day, what I love about it is that it doesn't look very typical. There's
Mm,
not one day, there's not one way that it works or anything like that. So, um, but going to like the analytical part of things, the way that my brain works normally, just
mm,
in throughout my day to day and stuff, is that I always have a plan A to Z.
mm,
If plan A doesn't work out, then I go to plan B, and it just keeps on going down and stuff. So I guess that kind of the way that my mind works kind of lends itself to that project management, juggling many things at all times, just to be able to kind of go through things. But I would say that really my workday doesn't look too dissimilar to anyone that maybe is a project or account manager at an agency. Sure, I work across many different, clients and stuff like that, but it's just about looking at what's come in, seeing how I can prioritize things, seeing what meetings I need to go to, who I need to talk to, what I need to action, and kind of putting that in a priority list and seeing what I need to go to. Um, that being said, that client work, one of the things that I make sure is built into my day is that time to be spending on my own business
Mhm.
and my marketing and stuff like that. So yeah, I speak quite a lot about having that kind of non-negotiable time to spend on
Mhm.
my business, to spend
Yeah.
on my marketing. So it means if something comes in that would take away from that time, I have to say no to it because in the long run it's going to benefit me more to be working on my business consistently and regularly than it will be to take that one project that's going to make sure
Yes,
that
I've seen you
I
say
can.
that, and I was fascinated. I was like, oh yeah, this is the attitude. I love it. So yes, but apart from all this, you go places, right? And I mean, other places in your life, but you also go to events, in-person events.
Yes, I have. Well, obviously, since things have opened up a little bit more, I've
Mhm.
started going to in-person events. There's so many that were around. Obviously, a little bit more that were around when I was in London, which I've
Mhm.
now moved to Glasgow. So it's a little bit quieter, which I enjoy. But that doesn't mean, networking is something that I find so important. And like connecting with other translation professionals and stuff. I just think that even if you're not, you know, even if you don't end up like working together, just
Mhm.
having that kind of support network and stuff. I've met so many lovely people and now I'm able to kind of, I'm lucky that whatever room I walk into, I'm likely to probably already have met someone there and like know someone. So there's just a really lovely community
And a lot of
of
people
going
will
to.
know you and you don't know them because
That
you
does
are a
happen.
celebrity translator, right? So, yeah, that's
Oh
the way it
my
is.
goodness. Oh, I'm not going to claim that title.
Well, but I guess I can say it for you. I'm on
Um,
this side, right? So I
yeah,
kind of see what happens.
exactly. No, I've had like people telling me that I'm like a LinkedIn influencer and like that
Yes,
kind of stuff.
for
And
sure.
it it all feels a little bit like, huh, but
But it's the truth. I mean, obviously, that's I'm
it's
sure like most of the people who work in the industry will see you like that because that is a fact, right? I guess you have inspired and you've been there for a lot of people. And I have seen you mentioned in many, 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 many posts. And I even looked at my own posts from like a year ago and I mentioned you constantly. So this is what I say. You're a celebrity for all of us who are on LinkedIn, right?
thank you. Yeah, I mean it does happen a lot that I'm going to events and people say, "Oh, you're Kelsey," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm
Who
sorry,
are you?
it's very nice to meet you." It does happen. It
Yep.
absolutely happens, but everyone's really nice about it. It's not like I can know absolutely everybody in the industry, and um, I'm just always excited to meet new people. So absolutely, if you see me, feel free to come up and say hello and introduce yourself. And yeah, I'm more than happy for that to happen. I was actually recognized on the streets in Glasgow
Wow.
a few months ago. That was absolutely wild. I had just been walking my dog, and my husband went into like the shop to grab something for dinner, and I was standing outside, and someone went to pet my dog, and then I looked up and went, Kelsey, and I was like, um,
I beg your pardon.
yeah, that was very strange. That was very, very strange. But yeah, it was a lovely interaction. We met up again later on as for a Glasgow Translators meetup and stuff. And it was absolutely great.
See, I'm not lying. You're a celebrity. I didn't even know about this episode, but I know that you are a celebrity. I mean, you have a lot of followers. And like I say, it's probably every day or at least a couple of times a week that people will mention you in their posts. And usually is because you support them, you influence them in a good way, you have shown them the path, and you have been there for them at some level, right? So, which means that I would say you are the most famous translator I've ever met on social media.
I'm going to come out of
help
this
it.
in the biggest head.
This is just facts. I mean, I don't have to make up anything because it's just the way it is. And I speak for myself. So I don't have to go any further. But I know you do a lot of things with Dot. I've actually, during a webinar, I used Dot's content for an example and all of that. So, I mean, that actually came through you, right? And I'd love to talk to her one of these days, have to talk to her to see if she can also have some time for us. And
I'd love to come on.
yes, I'm sure. I'm hoping that you will. It's been amazing talking to you, and I was really curious about a few things. And this is my great opportunity of asking whatever I want. And we had a bit of a technical difficulty moment here and there. But I guess it doesn't take away from our conversation. And I thank you so much for this time that you spent with me, because I know you have loads to do, and you have your creations, you have your work, you have your clients, you have your marketing, and everything is brilliant. And we love following you. So we'll continue to do that and continue to see what you have to give us, your resources, your advice, all of that. So I thank you in the name of the community.
Oh, thank you so much, Rita. This has been so lovely. It's been really nice just kind of having a chat and having a bit of a laugh with you. And yeah, I'm so grateful that you've invited me on. And this has just been such a nice way to spend my Friday morning. So thank you.
I wasn't sure you were going to say yes, because I know you have a lot going on. So I was
Absolutely, I would say yes.
So thank you so much for that too. So thank you so much, and I'll continue following you and keep up the good work. Thank you so much. Have a good Friday. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.